A dream. 5 score years ago, a great American, in whose symbolic shadow we stand signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon, light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of captivity. But 100 years later, we must face the tragic fact that the Negros is still not free. 100 years later, the life of Negro is still sadly gripped by manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languishing in the corners of American society and finds himself an exile in his own land. So we have come here today to dramatize an appealing condition in the sense we have come to our nation, capital cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall here. This note was a promise that all men would be guaranteed the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this scared obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check which has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vault of opportunity of this nation. So we have come to cash this check, a check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice. We have also come to this hallowed spot to remind Americans of this fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlight path of the racial justice. Now is the time to open the doors of opportunity to all God's children. Now it's the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to solid rock of brotherhood. It would be fatal for the nation to overlook urgency of the moment, to underestimate the determination of Negro. Thus, this sweltering summer of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. Those who hope that the Negro needed to blow off steam and will now be content will have a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual. There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. The virulence of revolt will continue to shake the foundation of our nation until the bright of day of justice emerge. But there is something that I must say to people who stand on the warm threshold which leads into the palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative process to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise the majestic heights of meeting physical force, soul force. The marvelous new militancy which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to distrust of all white people. For many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny, and their freedom is inextricable bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone, and as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who are asking the devotes of civil rights. When we will be satisfied? We can be never satisfied as long our bodies heavy with the fatigue of travel. Cannot gain lodging in the motels of the highways and the hotels of cities. We cannot be satisfied as long the Negro's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one. We can never be satisfied as long as a Negro in Mississippi cannot vote and a Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. No, no, no. We are not satisfied and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and the righteousness like a mighty stream. I am not unmindful that some of you have come here out of great trials and tribulations. Some of you have come fresh from narrow cells. Some of you have come from areas where you quest for freedom left battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been the veterans of creative suffering. Continue work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to the Mississippi. Go back to the Alabama. Go back to Georgia. Go back to the Louisiana. Go back to the slums of ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friends, that in spite of difficulties and frustration of the moment, I still have dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out true meaning of its creed. We hold this truth to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit together and at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a desert state, sweltering that with the heat, injustice, and oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my four children will one day live a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin but by their content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day state of Alabama, whose governor's lips are presently dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, will be transformed into a situation where the little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls and walk together as a sister and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and flesh shall see it together. This is our hope, this is our faith, with which I return to the south. With this faith, we will be able to hew out the mountain of the despair of a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jagging discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With the faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to the jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with the new meaning. My country, tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing, land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside that freedom ring, and if America is to be great nation, this must become true.